Hey, everybody. After many requests came to my email, I thought that I would get together with Miss Jenna here and go over the deal finder a little bit more. Jenna, would you mind introducing yourself?
Yeah, so thanks for having me, and it's great to be back. So, I'm Jenna Hoover, and I'm an investor just like you guys. So, I invest in a tiny little area about an hour south of the Pittsburgh area. I'm on my 11th year in real estate. I started out mainly as a rehabber, got into wholesaling, then I got into rental properties in 2017, started collecting some of those, and got into Airbnbs about 3 years ago. So I've done anything from residential to commercial to creative financing and bank financing and everything in between. So I'm really excited, really honored to be able to show everybody what all we have available right here at our fingertips with the Deal Finder software.
Awesome. Let's get into it then.
Yeah. So in this area, guys, this is our main user interface. So we're going to log into our software. So it's going to be my.ronsdealfinder.com. And this is where we're going to come in here. This is our main user interface. So we'll click on this and here's where we are. Now, guys, this area is like our own personal Google search for all nationwide properties. So all properties all across the country you have access to right here at your fingertips. We have access to over 148 million properties right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to start out by searching our geographic location. Like this area is our lead engine side of the software. So again, we can come in here and we can research and find all those different motivated sellers out there. So we don't have to go to this site to find this type of a lead or that site to find this type of a lead. Everything is right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in here and this is where we can search for our geographic location. So we can go as big as a whole state. We can search by county. We can search by one city, 5 cities at a time, or we can even be as micro as just typing in one physical address if you just wanted to see the data on just one individual property. Also in our lead types, you're going to see this is a fantastic package that Ron has available to you guys. The amount of leads that you have access to right here. We're going to look at things like absentee owner. And as you'll see here, as I hover over them, there's a little question mark that will define all these different terms. So if you're like, what's an absentee owner? Or how do you define high equity? Or what is low equity? You're going to see that we have all the different types of leads. So active listings, cash buyers, we have delinquent tax activity, free and clear. We have the different equity positions, upside down, active investor owned, bored investor. This is like a tired landlord. Properties that have been flipped, foreclosures, long-term owners, potentially inherited, pre-foreclosures, vacancy, and zombie properties. So again, if you're like, what is a zombie property? You can come in here and see it's a property that started through the foreclosure process. Something caused a halt in it. It's sitting there vacant, but it's a great lead source for us to be able to target. Now we can search for the different types of owners. So if you only want to target just individuals who own their properties in their personal name, or if you wanted to look at trusts or any sort of businesses or LLCs or any sort of banking or financial institutions or government. And we have the type of property that you're interested in. So if you're only wanting land, then we can only select land. Or if you're wanting single family properties or multifamily, the sky is the limit of what we're able to search. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and let's say that we want to let's go to Jacksonville, Florida. So this is a really hot area right now. So let's go to Jacksonville and then we're going to hit search. So let me clean up my leads here. It must have been from when we were playing around with our leads last time. But when we come into this area, you're going to see that we have over 304,000 different leads. Like that is totally overkill because obviously less than 1% of these people most likely even have a desire to sell their property. So we need to sift through them. We need to start cutting down and figuring out which ones have a high level of motivation. Now we can come in here and we can leverage our different types of leads. And then I'm going to show you how we can leverage our artificial intelligence technology, which is one of the hottest tools in the entire software. So we can come in here. One of my absolute favorite lists. I'll just start out. I'll just spill all of my secrets here. One of my absolute favorite lists to target is going to be the delinquent tax activity. So we could come in here and say, okay, system, show me all the people in this area that are behind on paying their taxes. Again, we're trying to get into the mindset of what does a motivated seller look like? What are their characteristics? What are their symptoms? Now, what we can do is we're going to come in here and we're going to go into this more tab and I'm going to go all the way to the bottom. But before I do, actually, we can search for anything that your heart desires. Like if you come in here and you say, I only want 3-bedroom, 2-bath properties that have a minimum square footage of of 1,200 square feet, and I want it to have at least a quarter acre of a land, and I want it to be worth X amount of dollars, and I want it to be built in a certain era, you can totally do that. Like, this is your opportunity to be so picky on exactly what you're looking for. Like, if you do not buy 1 bedroom, 1 bath houses, we never have to search for them. We don't have to even scrub through it. We can literally have the system do that. So we're going to look in this more tab. And this is where we have a lot of different filters as well. So before I actually show you exactly what I search for, you can see here, we can look for loan to value ratio. So how much does somebody owe on their property versus how much it's worth? So we can see how much equity is in a property. We can search for their loan information. Like, we can see things like, when does their loan mature? What type of loan do they have? We can see all their different, their finance types. We can come in here and search for their interest rate. So I have a lot of investor friends that search for a multitude of different things. So like, let's say that your real estate approach is creative financing. Maybe you do a lot of purchases subject to. So you may come in here and say, look, I want properties that are low equity, because you want them to pretty much owe pretty much what they're worth. And then you come in here and you say, I want them to have a mortgage rate of 4% interest or less, because your goal is to take over those mortgage payments. You could literally be a super savvy creative finance purchaser right here within the software. In this situation, I'm targeting those financially distressed type of motivated sellers. So we can, again, you can look for things like their mortgage interest rate, their mortgage payment, how long have they owned that property, what was the last sale price, when was that property sold last. Now, this is going to be a section I'll talk about here coming up in a couple minutes, the pre-foreclosure and the foreclosure section. This is a super hot area here. We have the different rental estimates, and we can even search by a particular person's name. So if I wanted to see how many properties Adrian Williams owns in that area, I could literally copy that person's name and paste it and see all the properties that person owns. I can look for any sort of keywords, and then you're going to see here some different cosmetic features. And it brings us to the bottom here, where we can search for owner occupied properties, the original owner, an in-state and out-of-state absentee owner. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the bottom one, the out-of-state absentee owner, because in this situation, guys, like, what I want is I want to try to find the person who has a property that they don't personally live in. And in fact, they don't even live in the same state as this property. I want it to be behind on taxes. And you can come in here and you can change the owner type. So you may say, I just want to deal with individuals who own them in their personal name. So this is going to drastically, you'll see here, our list has dropped from over 200,000 or 300,000 different leads down to 734 right here. Now, if your buying criteria is only a single family property, then have the system give you exactly that. So you don't have to look for things that aren't exactly your niche. So we have it narrowed down to 601. Now, let's say that we wanted to add in an additional lead type. So within the version that you guys have access to with our leads here, you actually have access to something called list stacking, which means where we can add on additional filters to bring this list even to a smaller number, but also it's going to be adding in different levels of motivation. So we can come in here, and it's all dependent on the size of the list that you're targeting. Like, if you say 601, that's great. Like, that's a great bite-sized list that you can go in there, get the contact information of all these different sellers and start calling them. Like, this could be a great starting point. But if you say, look, I want them to be a different level of distress, I want them to be vacant at the same time, we have it narrowed down to 82 different people. Like, this is a tiny, tiny list, but you can increase it. Like, you can add in additional cities, you can add in other areas, you can take out the individual component of it, depending on what you're looking for. If you only want individuals, then obviously keep it as individuals. But what we've done is we've taken this list of over 200,000 or 300,000 and narrowed it down to 82 different people. Then the people on this list, guys, like, these people are going to be motivated. Like, they not only not live in that property, they don't live in the same state as that property. They're behind on their taxes, and the house is sitting there vacant at the same time. So this house is nothing but a financial expense and a burden. Now, we can take this list among any other lists that we target. We can come into this drop down. We can click on select all. And then from here, we can go up into the My Lead section, and we can do any sort of marketing for this person. So we can either lead trace them, which is our version of skip tracing, where we can come in here and for 10 cents a piece, we can get that person's contact information. So it would be $8.20 to be able to get all of these people's contact information. So we can contact them. We're going to have multiple phone numbers, multiple email addresses. We're even able to get their relatives' contact information. If we have any sort of LLCs or trusts or corporations on our list, we're still able to skip trace them efficiently. We can actually pierce that corporate veil and we can get all their contact information as well. Or we can dive right into our direct mail engine where we can come in here and for 49 cents, 59 cents, or 79 cents, we can actually send them a postcard or a letter for 89 cents. Now that price that I mentioned, like for the postcards, they're double-sided, color glossy. They go out first class mail and it includes the postage and you can do a quantity of one. Like you don't have to send out 500 postcards to get the price of 49 cents. I mean, I think a stamp is well over 50 cents these days. So I don't know how it's possible, but it's possible. So you can see here, this is a little bit on this type of a list that we can target. Now, one of the lists I want to target here, I'm going to show you how the artificial intelligence work. So depending on the package that you have signed up for, you may either have 5 zip code credits. So you're going to see I have 4 because I already redeemed one of those credits. Or you may have 10, depending on which package that you have added. So most likely you're going to have 5 artificial intelligence zip code credits. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about AI and how it works and how it's going to benefit us because everybody's talking about AI in this world. Like everybody's AI this, machine learning that. Like a lot of times it's over our head. Like sometimes it's just confusing. How does it benefit me? Like what does it mean in English? And so how we have leveraged AI is as a company, what we've done, just to put it into normal people understanding terms here, is that what we've done as a company is we've purchased over 40 years worth of real estate sales information. So basically what we've done is every person that has sold a house since the 1980s until now, we own all the financial information on every seller that ever sold a house, as well as all the property details. And it sounds extremely creepy, and it totally is, but we're looking at super invasive information because what we have found is that if we can leverage the past, we can predict the future. And it's almost like we're playing a detective. And so we're looking at all these individual houses, and we're looking and saying, okay, this person sold their house, but why? Like what led up to them selling? And so we're looking at invasive things like how much money did those people make? What cars did they drive? What magazines did they subscribe to? Were they late on credit card payments? Were they behind on taxes? Were they having their utilities shut off? Did somebody pass away? Was there a divorce going on? And we're looking at the property itself as well. So like how old was this house? Was it over 80 years old? Did it most likely need work? Did it have a screened-in porch? Did it have a pool? What about a garage? Like all of these different components. And we're talking about like billions and billions of data points. We're taking all this information from the last 40 years. We put it into our genetic algorithm. And then we're cross-referencing all of that data with all of the current information of all the current people. And again, what we're doing is we're leveraging the past to predict the future. Because if I can see that somebody is in the same financial situation that these 100 people were in the past who ended up selling their property, it only makes sense that I can predict and assume that person is going to sell their property. So what we do is we're leveraging the machine learning technology to predict the future and give us what's called a sellability score. And we score all the different properties in your particular zip code of preference. So if you have 5 different zip codes, then you can come in here and say, okay, I want this zip code, that one. So you pick all 5 of your different zip codes that you personally invest in. If you pick the wrong area or it's not a big enough area for you, it's okay. You can change that zip code every single month if you want. You also can come in here to the upgrade section and you can also purchase additional areas. So if you want to buy your whole county, by all means, you can. If you want to buy just one more zip code, you can. If you want to buy your whole state, awesome. If you want to buy the entire country, you can totally turn that on. So you're not limited. Your hands aren't tied with just 5. It's just a starting point for you. So you come in here and you're able to redeem those credits. So it's very simple. You'll just click on redeem, this green button here. You'll select your 5 different territories. And what it does is it turns on that sellability score in those areas of your preference. What we do is we score the properties on a scale of 0 to 1,000. 1,000 being the best on how likely we predict that these properties will sell in the next 90 days. And it's fascinating. Like I'm an extreme skeptic when it comes to this kind of stuff. And so when the AI came out, I'm like, okay, let's see how legit this is. So what I did is I am from a super small area. So what I did is I put in my geographic location. I came in here, I selected absentee owners because you can combine the AI with any other with your lead types. So if you say I want all the people that are delinquent on taxes that have a high likelihood of selling, we can combine forces. And what I did is I had 59 people that came up on my list. I sent them a really small 2-touch campaign, a postcard campaign. After the first postcard went out, guys, I had 13 phone calls that came back. Now, I'm not saying that those are going to be your results, but they were my results. And out of that, like 7 of them were worth my time. One of them, I'm a licensed agent in Pennsylvania, so I'm able to refer different leads. So I was able to refer one of those to a real estate agent in my area. And another one, I bought it subject to, which means I took over that person's mortgage payment of $307 and a couple, I forget the cents, like $307 and some change. And so what I did is I put a tenant in that property, and I have rented that property out for $750 ever since. So and I spent $82 on that campaign. So I spent $82 on a campaign just to see if it worked, to see what my results would be. And because of that $82, just to test and track it, I make over $400 every single month just on that one deal one time. So
That's awesome.
unbelievable. Yeah, unbelievable results. So I mean, this, you have to get in there. You have to try it. So what we're going to do, so you can see here, this is an area that I have selected. So this is one of the zip codes that I picked. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to type in that zip code. So let's just kind of picture and imagine you redeemed your credit, you put in your zip code, and we're going to hit search. So when we come in here, you're going to see at the bottom of all these properties now, it has these 3 different color coded numbers. And again, we score them 3 different ways. The one in green, this is retail. This means that this person has a high likelihood of selling their property, but it's going to be more towards the retail price range. They have all the look and feel of somebody that may need to sell, whoever was in a similar situation. But this one is not financially motivated. So it could be something like there's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 3,000 square foot house, and the people that their kids just moved away to college. So the house may be a little overkill for that person, and they may need to eventually sell that property, but it may not be because they're behind on mortgage payments, or there may have been maybe a divorce going on, but maybe, or maybe there was a death, but it wasn't the main income generator of the household. Like it could be numerous different things. And all that we do, again, is we score them 0 to 1,000. 1,000 being the best on how likely in the next 90 days that we predict that property will sell. Now, the one in blue, this is rental. So how likely do we predict this property in the next 90 days will sell, potentially at a discount, but more towards our landlord buyer? And it's either the property is currently a rental right now, or it's in a market where there's a lot of rental activity. And the one in purple, this one's actually my favorite number. This is the wholesale score. So how likely in the next 90 days are we predicting that this property will sell at a discounted wholesale price? Now, this one is financially motivated. This one could be maybe a main income generator of that household passed away. Maybe they're having utilities shut off. Maybe they're behind on their mortgage payment. Maybe they inherited a property and it's evident that they can't handle the additional expenses of this property. There's something going on that has flagged our system that whoever this individual seller is, anybody in the past that was ever in a similar financial situation ended up selling and they sold at a discount. So what we're going to do, like, this is great. We typed in our zip code. We have almost 7,000 different leads, but it's overkill because less than 1% of these people may even have a desire to sell their property. So it would be such an extreme waste of my time and my financial resources to just market to everybody just because they're on this list. I want to sift through it. So we can come in here and go to this AI score button that's now available. And you'll see here, we can come in here and we can search for a specific minimum or a maximum. So anything above a 500 obviously has an indication, or it gives us the indicator that it needs to sell. So if we put in here something like 500 and above, it's all dependent upon the size of the list. So this is still 6,000 different people. Like you may say, like, look, this list is still a little too large for me. The higher we go, the more our numbers are going to go down. So like as far as our total count. So we can come in here, let's go to 700 and above. So if we go to 700 and above right here, you're going to see we have it narrowed down to 338 different people. But let's go higher. Like let's say that you want to go all the way to 900 and above. Let's see how many we get. So we're going to have 321 different people that have an AI score of over 900 and above. The thing is, when we have people on our list that are over 900, our success rate goes from that less than our 1% to a 16.3% likelihood that the people on this list will sell in the next 90 days. As a company, what we do is we do our own look back analysis where we pull our own information, we wait 90 days, and then we cross-reference what we predicted versus what actually ended up selling. And our nationwide average for a score of 900 and above is 16.3%. So if I were to have a list of 100 people, most likely 16 to 17 of those people, it may even be more. It's just our nationwide average. So most likely 16 to 17 of the people on a list as small as 100 will most likely sell in the next quarter. Now, hopefully they would sell to us. But the thing is we have the capability to reach out and target these people. Like a list of 321 may be tiny to some people. Like you may say, I could call this in an afternoon. But if you have potentially, let's say 60 people, potentially somewhere around 60 people on this list here, or, somewhere around 50 to 60 different people on this list that will sell. I mean, our success rate is through the roof while it's drastically decreasing how much we're even going to spend on this marketing. Like it would cost us $32.10 to get the contact information to call these people. Like that is it. Like most of the time when you're thinking about marketing and you're thinking thousands of dollars every single month, if we can come in here and target 321 different people where we have 50 to 60 of them will most likely sell in the next quarter, our success rate will be through the roof. Now, this is going to be a little bit about the AI. And again, you can combine it with anything else. Like if you wanted to come in here, like let's bring our number down a little bit more, but we can come in here and say, show me all the properties that have absentee owners. So somebody who owns a property that they're not personally living in. And I want that score to be something like a 600 and above. Let's see how many people we get. So we'll see 539 different people. So we could keep stacking on the different levels of motivation, or you could continue to go in here and say, maybe you want a higher score than that. So we can see here that if we have 215 people that have an unbelievably high score. So this is a great tool for us to really find those motivated sellers if you're really ready to take that to the top notch. Now we can come in here anywhere across the country and search. So if I'm in Florida, if I'm in Pennsylvania, if I'm in Maine, I can search for any properties all across the country because I hear other investors and they're like, there's no opportunities in my market, or I'm just in such a distressed area. That's fine. Pick up your virtual suitcase and go invest somewhere else across the country. Like find other markets that maybe are a little bit hotter than your particular area and focus on there. So let's say we want to go to Phoenix, Arizona. We could come in here and search. Now you're going to see here in this More tab, I promised you that I would come back and I would show you this pre-foreclosure and foreclosure section. This is a great tool for us to be able to find all those different motivated sellers because nothing is more motivating than losing your house to the bank. So we can come in here and say, okay, there's 385,000 different properties in this area, but how do I find ones that are behind on paying their mortgage? So we could come in here to this last notice date, depending on what your foreclosure process is in your state. I'm just going to look at the last 3 months and you'll see here it's the last notice date. So when was the last time that anybody on this list received a notice of default from the bank that they were delinquent on paying their mortgage? So let's look at the last 3 months. So we could come in here and we're going to see 247 different people in the last 3 months that have not paid their mortgage payment. Now, obviously, like we're going to see all the stats. Like you can click on any property on this list and see all the behind the scenes information. We're also integrated with Google Maps. So let's see if Google has been there. So let's see here. Let me share this tab here. So as long as Google has been there, I can virtually go see this property. So I could come in here, I can walk around the neighborhood. I'm basically there. I mean, this was just basically a little over a year ago that this image was taken. I can see that subject property. I can walk around to the neighborhood. Oh, actually, I think this is the subject property right here. They have me turned around. So it's apparently right after Christmas, you can see they still have their Christmas lights up. So you can see here, here's our subject property. We can see what the surrounding areas look like. So it's a really great tool for us to kind of virtually be there. So let me go back to, are you able to see my screen, Luke?
No, it looks like it popped off.
Okay, so let me go back and share that again. Okay, so let me go back here. All right, okay. Okay, we're good. Okay, so whenever I was doing my Google walkthrough, it shared the wrong, I closed off that screen. Okay, so when we come in here, but we're going to see all the stats on the property. So we can see like bed and bath count, square footage. We can see whoever owns this property, how long they've owned that property for. We can see the equity that's in that property. And this is with any property that you put into the system. Like you can see all the stats on any property you put in there. But we can see their mailing address if obviously this is owner occupied property, but we can see it's a single family property. We can see that it was built in 1961, 1,700 square feet. We can see the taxes, the last sale price. We can see things with utilities, zoning, parcel ID. And this area here, like this is where it's so powerful. Like I like to say it's literally like playing poker with somebody while you're sitting on their lap looking at their poker hand, because we can see the house is potentially worth right now as it sits somewhere around $385,000. However, we can come in here and we can see that they only owe somewhere around $71,000 on this property. So there's a lot of equity in this. And if they don't do something, like if they don't somehow redeem themselves when it comes to their mortgage, they have two options. It's either they're going to sell it to somebody like us or the bank is going to take it. And I tell you what, like working with somebody like us is way more attractive on your credit report than having a foreclosure. So we can come in here and we're going to look at all the stats on the property. We can see the building information and then all the financials. So you can see here, anytime that property has been purchased, for how much, what was the loan, who the lender was, what was their interest rate. So we can see all of this on any of the different properties that we have in our database. We can see all the foreclosure stats. So if this person, they received their notice of default in April of 2024, if they don't do something about it by July, their house is going to foreclosure. So it's really important for us to be able to reach out to these people. Again, it's always people first, money second. Like our goal is to help this person. And I always feel like sometimes people feel like, well, I don't want to reach out. I don't want to bother these people. Like they may not have any other options. They may not have any idea what to do. Like they may be so scared. Like this is the stuff that keeps people up at night. This is the stuff that is overwhelming to them, stressing them to no end. Like they may think I have nobody to turn to. And especially like if anybody has ever been in a tough financial situation, you're going to have a different level of communication with them. Like you're going to be able to resonate with that person and explain to them that you know what it's like where they've been, or if we're talking to somebody who inherited a property because a loved one passed away and you've had somebody pass away, you're going to be able to resonate with that person to such a different level than just any ordinary investor out there. So we can take it to the next level. So we could come in here and we can say, okay, system, give me all the people that their houses actually are set to go to auction. They actually have an auction date. They're ready to go. They're in that foreclosure process. So we could come in here. And there may be some overlap because some of the people that may be in pre-foreclosure already have that auction date, but we'll let our system here catch up to us. Sometimes I click too fast for it and then it can't handle me. Sometimes I'm too fast for it. So let me go back.
I love technology.
You got to love it. I live right next door to a school. So sometimes that school just like sucks the life out of my internet here. But do you have any questions for me, Luke, while my internet's catching up here?
Just a couple that I've thought of. I know that you mentioned the letters, kind of like Ron's yellow letters that he sends out. Are those, without a skip trace, obviously, are those letters personalized in any way? Like I know. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. They include like the owner's name and things like that?
Yeah, so it will include the owner's name. It will include the actual subject property as well. So it will include all that information on there. So that will be all personalized on there for them. And it will have, and there's been different times where I'll send out just a very standard, like a standard piece of mail where it's just going to say, I want to buy your house for cash. And then I'll send out the second piece of mail that actually has the address on the property, the person's name, everything's personalized. And then they'll reach out to me and they're like, I didn't think that you were real until I actually got this piece of, marketing material from you. So a lot of times, that's going to, really help you to kind of identify you as a real person, somebody who's actually out there helping. So let me get back here to sharing my screen here now that my computer caught up. So let me go back here. You gotta love it. It's always like whenever you want it to work.
Yeah, it's the most convenient times.
Yeah. So, all right. So we'll go back here. So let me go back here. So I'll kind of walk you through it again. So I'll come in here. Let's go to Phoenix, Arizona. So we'll come in here and then we'll hit search. So again, I'm going to go into this more tab and then I'm going to search going all the way about halfway down. And then I'm going to say, okay, show me all the properties in the next 3 months that are actually set to go to auction. So 232 different people. So you'll be able to see here, this one's going to auction in July. This one is in August. This one's July. So we'll be able to see all these different dates here of all these different properties that are actually set to go to auction. Like this one, I mean, this one's coming up here pretty soon. So we have to make sure that we reach out to these people as fast as possible. So we can select this list. We can add them all to our leads. Then what we can do is we can skip trace them, with our lead trace option. We can go in and do some direct mail to them. So like I'll show you, I'll actually select this list here and I'll actually walk you through the direct mail engine just so you can see those letters. So the cool thing is that we can either do postcards or we can actually do letters. We actually have this option here. It's a little bit more expensive. It's about $1.89 a letter. It's about around twice the price of our regular direct mail letters, but we actually have a company that's basically that we're affiliated with. It's basically like a whole warehouse of robotic arms. And that robotic arm physically holds a blue Bic pen and it will physically handwrite your letter. It physically handwrites the envelope and puts a physical stamp on it. So
That's
it's
incredible.
super cool. I mean, it's really, really cool because like you can't tell that it's not like if your number is 555, each 5 looks different. Like it's mind blowing, but we're going to put in here whoever we're targeting. So I'll just throw my name in here just for the sake of being quick here. But let's say, you want to do a 3-touch or if you want to do a 5-touch, obviously the more touches, the better. But just for demo purposes, I'm just selecting a 3-touch. Now, if I'm targeting a pre-foreclosure list, I probably want to do it a little bit more frequent. Like I don't want to do it monthly. If I do it monthly, then they may lose that house by then. So you want to be a little bit more time sensitive. So you can come on here, you can put in your information, whatever you want to put on here. So we'll pretend like we're from Beverly Hills today. I'll put in my information here. So let's just do our test. Let's come in here and you can, if you don't have a website, that's fine. You can leave it. If you don't have a company name, you can leave them blank. Or if you want to put that in there, you totally can. And the system is smart enough to know that if you don't have something in here, it's not going to say on your postcard, visit me at my website at blank. Like it's going to know to leave out that field. So it's very interactive. Now, if you have a phone number that you want to use, definitely put that in here. Or if you want to purchase your own tracking number right here in the system, you totally can. And I do recommend sending yourself a copy just because, at least for your first 1 or 2 campaigns, just so you can see that piece of mail, touch it, feel it, experience it, because you will get it the same day that everybody else does. So you can put that on here. So if you do have a website, we'll just put test.com, just throw something in here and then we'll just go to next. So from here, we're going to select our target audience. So you can come in here, if it's an absentee owner, if it's just a regular seller, you're going to see that all the postcards will automatically be generated for us. So you're going to see there's going to be like different merge fields. So you'll see there's the different phone number area, but you can upload your own postcard if you have your own. You can customize one right here on the fly, whichever you prefer. I actually have great results with this trio right here in the general section. So I usually recommend at least the middle size postcard, if not the larger one. So either one of these 2 different postcards are fantastic options right here. The smaller one is fine. Me personally, I just have better results with the 2 larger size ones. But you're going to see here, I mean, this one right here, this yellow Sharpie, I have the best results with this one. And then usually from my second postcard, I'm going to hit them with this one. Now you can hover over them and preview them. So you'll see here, it will address them by their first and last, like their first name here and their property address. So you'll see here, it will have their information. So these are our different merge fields. Sorry, let me share this area here. So you're going to see here, it's going to have their name, you're going to have their property information here, their address, and it will address them by name. So this is going to be, very personalized to that individual person. So let me go back here to share this tab. So I'm going to select that one for my second one. And then for my third one, I'll just do this little white Sharpie one. And then I'm just going to go to next. So as you go, this left side will start showing you how much your entire campaign is going to cost you, because it will remove any duplicates from the system. And it will go out, like I said, it's double-sided, they're color, they're glossy, they go out first class, and it can be on a quantity of 1, and it includes the postage. So they're going to get this in less than a week's time. As soon as you orchestrate this campaign, the first one is going to go to the print house. So it's going to go right to them, very, very quickly. But we're going to come in here, you're going to see the different postcards, and then we can just go to finish and review from here. So from here, it will just kind of give you the snapshot. It shows you that we're going to target 189 different people, 3 different times, and we're just barely a little over $300. So really inexpensive a marketing campaign. And I do recommend, if you are doing direct mail, that you definitely tag team it with skip tracing them and getting that person's contact information. So, so it'll cost us, probably like $20, less than $20 to get these people's contact information and call them at the same time, because this way we can ask them, did you get my information in the mail? And it kind of gives you something to reference, like a kind of a reference point on how you're gonna communicate with that person. So it's a great way to tag team it, because if you see here, we're targeting them 3 different times. And if we can call them a couple different times as well, this is multiple touches. And if anybody has researched, the amount of times that it really takes for us to really resonate with a seller, it can be 7 to 11 times or something like that. I forget what the stats are. But if we're targeting this person, so I mean, you could do at least a 5-touch campaign if you want to. But that's a little bit on how we can actually orchestrate our direct mail campaign. Do you have any questions for me, Luke, on anything that I've gone over so far?
Well, I just wanted to point out, kind of for the people listening too, a lot of our students have the virtual assistants that we have in office here. So for like direct mail campaigns like that, you mentioned skip tracing as well as sending the direct mail, kind of doing both on those higher end lists. You can always send that information over to your virtual assistants and have them contact them and let them know, hey, I've sent a direct mail piece to these people. These are people that we're trying to get in contact with and people that we've already sent information to, and kind of just let them know to incorporate that into their script whenever they are calling them,
Yeah.
That way you're not the one sitting there having to dial 300 people. So just kind of want to point out how well that works with the virtual assistants.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, if you have a virtual assistant that's doing your calls, I mean, that's fantastic. And the thing is, it's perfect, is that you could sit there and you could train your virtual assistant, or you could show them this video and let me train them, because I'm literally walking them through exactly the steps that you're going to want them to do. So you can show them how to come into our geographic area. So if you wanted to go as big as a whole state, like, so if you said, I want to go to, Florida, you could come into your individual area. You can search for all your different types of leads. And one thing I did want to point out, everything on this list other than active listings, so everything that's not selected. So if you wanted to come in here, you can actually come in and you can actually exclude things. So if you said, I only want off-market deals, you could come in here and you can exclude active listings, and everything that's going to come up on your list. These are all off-market deals. These are unlisted, unadvertised properties that nobody else knows about. They're not even for sale anywhere. And this is the type of leads that you have access to. Like, there's so many investors that get into real estate and they look at the MLS for like a couple days and they're like, there's no good deals. Real estate is terrible. There's no good deals out there. But they don't have a software like this to be able to go into and have this database of different leads where we can see the sellability scores on them. We can see pre-foreclosures. We can see foreclosures. We can see delinquent tax activity. Like, we could come in here and we can see all the different board investors. So people that have owned a property, that are our landlord, that have owned them for over 10 years. Now, a lot of times they're going to have a large amount of equity in these properties. Let me just clear out my list here of that list that we were just targeting together. But they're going to have a lot of equity in their properties. Now, obviously, it's like 7 million different people here. So, if we wanted to come in here and let's look at, or I think I had to exclude. So if we want to include, so let's look at our board investors. So these are like our tired landlords that are out there, people that have owned a property for over 10 years. And what if we say, like, what if we want to combine it with something like vacant? So nothing is more discouraging as a fellow landlord than when you have a property that's sitting there vacant. But what if they're also in a tough financial situation and they're behind on their taxes at the same time? So 2,000 different people. But maybe you're only looking for multifamilies or apartment buildings because you're tired of single family rentals. 129 people that we have eliminated it down to on this silver platter list. So really, the sky is the limit on exactly what you're looking for. Whatever your niche is, you can come in here and you can find exactly that. So Luke, do you want me to show people where they can go to sign up for the software?
Yeah, one quick question though. Kind of my understanding of it initially, obviously before this, I thought that the 5 AI zip codes were the only information that you had access to. Like, you could pick 5 zip codes and then you had this information right here to choose from. But can you do this across the entire country, but there's 5 that you have the AI benefits that are included with it? Or how
Exactly. And that's
okay,
like a very common question because some people think, okay, well, I pick my 5 different areas and that's where I'm limited to searching. Like, no, you still have nationwide access. Like you can see here, I'm looking in the entire state of Florida and I don't have the AI on my entire state right here. So you're not seeing
right,
those different zip codes there. There are the artificial intelligence scores here, but you can still search anywhere in the country. It's just those 5 different zip code regions that you have. That's where it just turns on the sellability scoring on those particular properties in that particular region. So that's a really common question that we get because some people think, well, what if I want to search for properties in other states? You totally can. It's just that you don't have the AI turned on in that particular area unless you've purchased AI in that area or you've switched your particular region to another territory. So that's a great common question.
awesome. Yeah, I thought it was more of like a limit rather than a bonus, so that kind of surprises me.
Yep.
Um, how is this legal? How is all this information, how am I able to get all this information? That blows my mind.
Yeah, well, the thing is we're not giving you we're not sharing all their information. I
Right.
mean, other than like the stats on the property. Like one of the things, like when we come in here, like I'll show you. So if we're coming in here and we're searching this particular zip code that I've selected, the thing is that legally we're not able to tell you why they're on the list, and which is we don't. The only
Mhm.
thing that we can do legally is give them a score. And I
Right.
mean, and the thing is, the information is out there. I mean, it's the same creepy technology. Like if you're sitting by your phone and you talk about a certain movie or you talk about a certain food or you
Oh,
talked
yeah.
about something and then you get on Facebook and the next day, sure enough, there's the light from Home Depot that you were just looking at or talked
Mhm.
about, and there it is. It's the same type of creepy technology that's out there. Like, I mean, as sad as it is, like social media sites, like they're watching and monitoring your scrolling. Like if you know social media, like so
Mhm.
like when somebody is scrolling, like they're able to document and record basically how long are you scrolling on certain things? How long are you watching certain things? What are you clicking on? Whose profiles are you on? It's like the same type of technology. So, in the same thing, like, when it comes to credit cards, like if you get different credit cards, you may notice you'll get different offers. Or if you buy something, or if you spend a little bit at Christmas time, then you'll start to notice that you'll get certain things about eliminating your debt right after Christmas time. Like everybody buys everybody's data. It's just like, you get
That's
one
wild.
credit card and then you get offers for all these other ones. And it's like, how did you get my information? It's like, it's all that stuff that's out there. I mean, it's unbelievable how expensive it is. And so as like, that's why, when it comes to the AI technology, if you wanted to buy more, it obviously is an expense because we're purchasing it from an outside source. But what we're able to do is really document all this stuff. I mean, the people that we had that created our genetic algorithm. Some of them are people that were used to be affiliated with NASA. I mean, it's like it's unbelievable the amount of brain power that went into creating this AI, and it's constantly learning. Like when it first came out, it was like 10 or 12%. Now we're at 16.3. So every quarter it's getting better, it's getting smarter. So it's starting to learn different things. It's understanding the different trends of people, which is, I mean, that's creepy in itself.
Mhm.
But I mean, as far as it being legal, it's just we're just giving them a score and we're not exposing all the content of that person's individual financials.
Yeah, I was honestly just surprised that you could get all of this information in one place. I can't imagine how long it would take me just to find this on a couple properties
Yeah,
already.
definitely.
So, well, do you want to show them obviously how to get signed up?
Yeah. So let me share this area here. So you would just go to ronsdealfinder.com. So RONSDEALFINDER.com. And then you're going to see the pricing. Like it's unbelievable the pricing that Ron is offering this to you guys for. I mean, it's really, or you can see the discount that he's offering it. So you can have it for 3 months. So it's good. It would ordinarily be 500. So he's taking off 200 on here. And so you're going to see here it's going to be a total of $300 for a quarter. So it's really a really great deal for you to move forward on. If this is something that if you're looking to take your business to the next level, like I always say, like if you're not ready to be an investor, like if somebody's sitting there and they're like, okay, I have dreams of being an investor, but you're like, oh, I'm nervous of actually doing this. I don't want to call people. I don't want to take it to that next level. Then it may not be for you. But if you're somebody and you're like, I'm ready, like I want to have leads. I'm ready to start calling people. I'm ready to start buying deals. I'm ready to get out of my whatever your job is, or have some additional stream of income because you love your job. Whatever your niche is, like this is where we're going to get started. Like this is where we become an investor. Like this is an investment in yourself, in your business, to be able to help you find the leads that nobody else is going to have access to, obviously, unless they have the same software as us. But this is our opportunity to really take it to that next level. So go to ronsdealfinder.com, and then you'll just put in your contact information, and you'll see here. You can also get, additional AI zip codes, you can see here for, additional areas here if you want to. And also when you're in your account, so I showed you guys here, when you're in your area, you also have this upgrade option here. And you can come in here and you can upgrade, to a whole county if you want the whole state. And one thing I will show you too, for anybody who's a wholesaler out there, this software not only helps you find motivated sellers, but we can leverage this same software to find motivated buyers. So if we're in here and we say, okay, I did some marketing in this particular zip code, but now I have a couple leads and I need to find some different people to buy them. And let's say you don't have your buyers list is just empty right now. You could literally come in here and say, okay, system, show me all the cash buyers in my area. Show me all the businesses, because obviously we want to target fellow investors, fellow LLCs like us. And my dog just walked in here panting. So if you hear something panting, it's not me. If you hear her, she's like walking in like a crazy dog. But it's so you can come in here and say, okay, system, give me all the fellow cash buyers, fellow businesses, LLCs like me in my area. But let's be more time sensitive, because it's giving me 1,100 different people, but it could be like somebody from 2016. So I'm going to come in here and go about halfway down, and I'm going to focus on the last year, depending on the size of the area. Like in this area, it's just a tiny little zip code. Like if I was looking for the entire city of Jacksonville, I may look like, so if I'd come in here and I'd say, give me all of Jacksonville. So let's look, obviously Jacksonville is a little bigger than this, just this one zip code. So if I'm coming in here and I'm looking at all the cash buyers in that area, I'm at 1,700 for the last year. So you may be able to go to the last month in whatever your particular region is. But I'd recommend at least like a list of like 100 and some people, depending on the size of your area. Because what I'm looking at here is I'm looking at fellow investors, fellow LLCs that are just like me, that are buying houses in cash in my particular region as recent as the last month. Now we can take these people, skip trace them for $11.30 and start calling them and saying, hey, are you interested in buying any more properties like the one that you just purchased on University Street? So we have now an ability to find not only the properties, but now we can match it up with our potential wholesale buyers right here with the same exact software for no additional cost other than the fact of having to skip trace them or direct mail them. So we have that opportunity as well. So we can go in there and do that. And then, so any other questions that you have for me? So we can see here that one last thing here is we have the ability, we can look for private lenders. We can look for people going through bankruptcies. We can even look for different tenants in the area if you want to market to any of those additional people there too. So we could spend all day on this, Luke, but we won't.
Yeah, it seems kind of like a one-stop. I mean, I'm in the marketing department for global, obviously, and I'm just thinking about how much money it would cost in order to get that amount of quality leads in this industry versus real estate. It's kind of blowing my mind, but I think it's awesome. Did you have anything else that you wanted to touch base on, Jenna?
Nope. I'm looking forward to potentially working with everybody in the future, helping you guys out, and anything I can do to help. I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. Well, guys, I'll include the link to get signed up anywhere that you're seeing this, whether it be on Gold Club or YouTube. So yeah, get signed up below. Thanks so much, Jenna.
Thanks.